Hi everyone again, and welcome to the Keys to Success series for June. We also have a hashtag in case you want to follow and also tweet your experience here at Question Pro. And my name is Esther Lavielle. I am the implementation manager here at Question Pro. And if you have any questions or comments regarding your experience with Question Pro or any questions about any current projects or upcoming projects that you're doing with your surveys, feel free to reach out to me. I have my contact information below, and you're more than welcome to reach out and use us as a reference to help guide you through your insights, data collection, and analytics experience with us. So this is our third one that we are doing. So we have had a lot of really great success and have gotten a lot of feedback from our customers in terms of what they're looking to learn with Question Pro. And on this Keys to Success for June, we are going to focus on reports and analytics. This is going to be an overview of a lot of the basic things that we have in our system, as well as some advanced analytic options that we also include. And this should cover a wide range of all the different license types that you can see. So regardless of what license type you have, everything that we are showing you today is relevant and interesting and should be available for most everyone. And if you see something that you think would be interesting to use for your current studies and want to spend some time doing analytics with that, you can reach out to our iSupport and everything as well. So again, this is a session that's going to be an overview of a lot of the basics as well as a lot of the advanced analytics, so that you can have a chance to see whether or not these tools can better the insights that you are getting with regards to quick turnaround times, deliverability, and more. On our agenda today, we're going to go and walk through the interactive real-time dashboard, as well as the basic options overview of what you can and can't do with the data after it's been collected. We'll also go over some key advanced analytic items that you can get started with certain licenses, so you can have a preview of what that can do and how it could benefit your current research strategy. And we'll also go and look into some interesting tools that I don't feel a lot of people are using nearly enough, such as our turf analysis tool and text analytics. So we'll dive into that as well. And the last piece we're going to talk about is integrations, API integrations, or integrations with other types of tools or webhooks and everything as well. The last piece I want to open up to everybody who may have some questions about some current research, if there's any, or maybe you have questions about what you saw on the training session, and we'll be happy to address those here as well as after the session as well. So let's get started. One thing I'm going to note is that I will be bouncing back and forth between these slides as well as doing a live demo within the Question Pro account. So there is going to be a bit of switching back and forth. If there's any issues with what you can see, what you can't see, let me know through the chat box. I will be monitoring that on a continual basis. So let's go ahead and get started. So dashboards and basic reports overview. What we want to do is show all the things that you can do with the real-time dashboards and how our successful customers are using the tool. So anytime that you collect data, the very first thing when you click on reports, you'll be able to see a real-time dashboard of every single question that you have asked, as well as the opportunity to set filters and look at your overall completion rates versus how many people you have deployed it to, and so on and so forth. We'll also show you how to, within this dashboard, be able to filter and segment, and also be able to customize and share these dashboards out, and then also be able to edit and update any participant responses that you're receiving. One of the things a lot of people are getting is that they want to be able to clean up their data, edit, maybe remove some test data to make sure that it doesn't skew the results that you're receiving. And so we want to show you how to take care of those pieces, as well as looking at some basic standard download options that could fit for what you're looking for. So if you are using tools like Market Sites, Tableau, or anything outside, or some other like SPSS, and we can show you what you can do to get the data downloaded and uploaded into the analytics tool of choice. Or if you just want to download it and then use Excel or other tools like that, we can show you how to do that. So let's go ahead and jump in to the live account. And so I'm logged in to a survey that I'm building. I'm actually in our Utah office this week, and I thought it'd be fun to highlight a big name company that's out here. So one of it is Overstock.com, and they're headquartered in Salt Lake City, and I thought it'd be fun to do a little bit of stuff about them. Perhaps you have shopped with them or heard of them. They are a big competitor to Amazon and so on and so forth. So I have collected some quick data, asked some questions in terms of company and shopping experience satisfaction. So we went in, built a survey about the items that they purchased, how long have they used it, what kind of things have they what things have they bought before from a household goods standpoint, how frequently they shop, how satisfied they are. We also threw in a select all type question and how much they would rate on certain things, so you can see the variety of analytics we're going to get. So it's important to be able to see what kind of questions you're using in order to trigger the different kind of analytic options. So that's why I'm just doing a quick preview of what those are. So you can see we're also including some profiling information that we can use for the reports. So I'm jumping over to the reports, which on the very top here, it's right next to send. And this is the very first thing you'll see, which is the dashboard report. And I really enjoy using this because there's lots of setting options, customizations that you can do, as well as sharing options. When I was at another company using Question Pro and running surveys on behalf of my CEOs and executive team, what we were doing with Question Pro, especially with surveys that were being fielded, was that I was giving our exec team and our CEO the opportunity to check in real time how things are doing. And the one tool that really helped them and us with analyzing responses as they came in was the real-time link report. And so basically what we would recommend, especially if you have a one-off project or a research project and you have other eyes that want to watch this on a continual basis, this report link is very helpful, useful, and it's easy for them to go in and analyze, who is this, what's going on a continual basis. And I recommend taking a look at it. I know it's not something that people usually say is a big deal, but for me, because I had that personal experience working with my CEO and also my management team, I knew that this became such a popular thing and a popular reason how we were able to watch how the survey was being taken and what's the progress and status anytime they wanted to access it. So it was really nice that you know, instead of them saying, hey, can you pull a report every day and send it to me, they can just go in and take a look at it. So that's the very first thing I really wanted to emphasize, you know, why this is really good. And not only that, but you can also password protect it, share it out as well. So there's lots of different things that you can do to add additional settings to it, but that's really the key thing. And they'll be able to see the exact same dashboard report as well. So let's go ahead and just do a quick overview of everything that's in here, and then we'll jump into just the quick settings. And so you can see this is just a quick overview of everyone who has viewed, started, and completed the survey. And then you will see, you know, the breakdown of every single question in terms of a visualization of the data and as well as the numbers that you're getting. And within here, everything is very interactive. So that means that for every single question within the dashboard, you'll be able to click through these settings and configure your report as you need. So if there's ever an issue where you need to customize your mean calculations, or you need to update your scales, because we do go from a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the standard, but if you do need to update and do a custom scoring as well, these are available within the question, so you don't have to worry about setting those up prior to deploying the survey. You can actually go back and apply it afterwards and then review the data and download it as well. So that's one thing. The other thing you can also do is change the chart type and say, you know, this pie chart is great and all, but I do want to look at it as a column. So if I'm asking how long have you used your dining room set from overstock.com, I can move it to a bar graph or columns that you saw earlier, and then be able to do a quick analysis and review the data in a way so you can see, you know, here's who's winning. So for example, you can see there's a tie between those who've, you know, maybe purchased something years ago and they're still using it today, or maybe some people have started using it, or they purchased it in the last 6 months and they're actively using their dining room set. And the other great thing you can do within here is that you can also download the specific information for this particular question type, and then also get it in Excel spreadsheet, a trend data, or and be able to download a quick banner table from this particular question as well. So if you're just interested in one question, you can take what you need and share it out. The other option you can do, so for example, if you have a CEO that just wants to take a look and follow the NPS, you can just take and share just the question type itself. So you don't necessarily even have to send out the whole dashboard. You can just send out the question that he's most interested or she's most interested and go from there. The very last thing you can do within a question is that you can click through and see who has answered the survey in a particular way. So you can click through and find out who everybody is that did the 47 responses, and then click through and see their ID, identify who they are as well, and so that will help you be able to analyze and say, you know, if there was some low scores on certain things, or you want to do like, oh, you know, what are all these people that have, you know, maybe shopped a long time ago, I want to see who they are, and you can actually dive in deeper as you need. So it's pretty nice in terms of being able to drill directly through the dashboard in the front. And so here's some other question types you can see. They're all defaulted as pie charts, and it highlights as you scroll over which section is what, and it moves as well. So it's a highly interactive site. And you also see here with rating scale questions, we do bring the spider chart through to analyze any relationships between the different answer options and the different questions within the table. So that is some good ways to take a look at this. And let's go ahead and just jump back up to the top here, and I'll show you some additional settings that you can apply immediately and start working on this. So the first things you can do, obviously, is the report settings. So if you decide that you don't want the map, you can remove the map, or you can focus in on a particular area. So if I'm interested in just covering the US, I can update that here. If I do want to include like a word cloud for the comments to identify keywords that people are saying, you can add that here as well. If you want to turn on a time series so you can track, the time that it takes to complete the survey, as well as trending, how long it's been in the field, so on and so forth. And if you're using our offline tools, so we have a Question Pro offline tool, and you want to show some device data, you can do that as well. So there's lots of different stats that you can include. So what we have as a default is not everything you need. Well, not everything you need, but it's just the default of what we currently have, and you can customize it based off of the additional things that you want to include. So if you want to include question numbers, statistical calculations, you want to include charts or not include them, include a roll-up matrix data, many things that you can do. And once you have this saved, you can save this setting, and every time you come back to the same exact survey, you'll be able to see this exact setting every single time. So you don't have to go in and do a fresh filter every single time or everything. So for instance here, I just updated this and said, where's my survey, who's all taking it? So obviously everyone from Utah is taking it right now. Other things you can also do is you can add a title and logo. So if you want to go ahead and share this out with your team and just give them an overview of what this is. So if it's a survey about Overstock, then I'm going to make sure to include overstock.com so they know what the survey is all about. That's one thing you can do. And you can also customize the theme. So if you want to highlight, some key areas and get some better colors that match the items that, or the look and feel of the company and stuff like that, you're welcome to do that as well. So now it's going to be reflected in the tables and what is shown, and you can see that right away. So that's one thing you can do with customization. Last thing, again, sharing options, enabling the sharing option. There's also a way that you can just close it out. If you don't want to share it, you don't want anyone else to share it, or if you want to include a password to protect it so only exclusive people can access this at any time, you can do that and then turn on a password and then go ahead and save that as well. So that is the basic overview of the dashboard. The next exciting thing about the dashboard really is the fact that you can do a quick filter in analytics and also save those and be able to look at your data right here and then. So for example, if I am interested in doing a filter of the data based off questions or custom variables, geolocation, device type, that's all going to be inside here, and I can access all my question types, and here's all my surveys, questions, and I can ask them, if I want to look at how likely are you to continue to shop with Overstock, and I can click on, several different options. So it's not just one, you can click a few at a time as well. So if I want to do very likely, somewhat likely, and that's selected, then you can see how the data has changed below. So you can see, from the 207, 91 people were those that were likely to come back and shop again with Overstock.com. And then I can also include additional filters, so you can do and or. you're going to do another question or some system variables. So I can do a question, and then maybe I want to see, you know, as a gender question, I want to know how many women from here are going to be likely to come back and shop at Overstock.com. So you can see, you know, from the 91 that said that they're continuing, 33 of them were women. And then if you read it again, you know, males there, and then we also have those that prefer not to answer. And then you can go ahead and save those filters, so when you come back, take a look at this information, you can see what you need to see. So that's pretty nice as well. And so that is a really quick way to add these types of information, and then you can go ahead and delete if you need to, or go ahead and click save, and then you're good to go. So the very last thing about filter and analytics that I would say is that, you know, the more information you collect from your survey, the more information you'll have with your analytics, and we will be able to expose, you know, certain custom variables that you can look at in the system. If there were any, then you can access up to 255 of them if you have a lot of information. If you have device types, if you want to know how many people took this on the laptop versus the smartphone, we can distinguish that, and then you can see the difference. And so it shows you right away. So that's pretty nice. And so you can do a quick option and just see below how your data is going to be reflected. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that and then refresh it, and you can see we've got the males, and then you can notice how the data below has changed, and all of the resulting data has changed as well. The last thing you'll also notice directly from the dashboard is that you'll have the ability to go ahead and download the data as an Excel spreadsheet, CSV, Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Adobe, etc., and SPSS. And so you'll be able to download it directly from here if you need. If there's some other ways that you would like to download this, we will be able to show you what that is underneath the managed data here in a bit. So that is the dashboard. I hope that it gave you just a quick overview and you're able to use this, especially when you are in the middle of fielding. I know that some people just use this for analytics as well. It's good enough for what they're doing, and I think that's fabulous. And if it meets your needs, it's great. It's actually very powerful. It's real time. We're pulling the data as soon as someone completes the survey. Refresh this, and they'll be able to see this. And then with the reporting link, you'll be able to share that out, and then they can access this as soon as they know other people are taking the survey. Then they can go ahead and see the results as soon as they refresh the link as well. So underneath the dashboards on the top right hand or top left hand corner, where I am here, under dashboards, you also will see participant stats. And participant stats is just a deeper dive into everybody who has taken your surveys, who's viewed, who's started, who's completed, what is your overall completion rate, what's your dropout rates. And this is a great way to see if there's some issues with your survey. Maybe there's something in the survey that is confusing and is frustrating customers or respondents, and so they're not completing the survey. And what is it, where is it at? And what you can do is you can analyze and see who those people are by clicking through and pulling up their stats here. And you can pull up their particular ID information and see where they ended. The other thing you can do from the response editor or viewer is that, you can, if you know the ID you want to look up, you can just copy and paste it in here. You can also, if you have some predetermined data segmentation filters, which I'll show you soon, you can access those and segment and review who those are in particular. And then you can look at the survey results based off of those who didn't complete. And then the columns here, which is this section here. We have defaulted as the system headers, but if you want to do a quick online raw data report of all of the questions and the results and the responses below, you can change that to all questions, and then this is going to change as well. So click on search database, and you can see that now all of the questions from the survey are included, and you can go down and see how they answered the survey. One of the great things about this as well is that once you're inside here and you can find out who responded, and you need to go in if maybe there's some spelling errors with the open-ended text information they gave you, or they genuinely had some issues and wanted to respond in a certain way. There's always an opportunity for you to finesse and update the information if you need to by going in and editing responses. This also includes the opportunity for you to add any custom variables from the system that maybe you had missed for a few of your respondents, and you can update and change those as well. You'll also see here is a completion URL, and what that means is that if there is somebody that you know did not complete the survey and they want to come back and take it, we have two ways. They can either save and continue if you turn on that setting in the survey, or if they contact you directly, you can actually copy and paste this and email them right here directly to say, hey, I've saved your information, go ahead and continue where you left off, and go ahead and complete the survey. So that's a great thing that you can do. You can update, make changes. The one key thing about doing edits is that it only makes edits for one section, so you have to update the changes one at a time if you need to. And most of the time, people are just doing one or two changes tops. And then go ahead and save that. The other thing you can also do is if you want to look at a particular person or respondent, you can do an individual report, which will take their information and just show them, highlight them under the same dashboard that you saw before, but it's just for this particular person. And then you can also do what's called a spotlight report, which takes the information and compares their results to the rest of the respondent base that you had collected data from. So that is a bit on the respondent ID. You also have the opportunity, last and not least, is you can email individual responses or even print them out if in case you need to deliver the data in a different way, or download it so you can make some notes on it for any kind of sessions or meetings and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and close this out. And we're going to go back to just some more of the basics. The last thing you'll see here is just a brief infographic. And what that is basically just a visualization of the data. It's very similar to the dashboard report, except it does include a bit of our images that we put together, and it's a quick way to look at things. And I enjoy it just because some people just want to have an infographic and just quickly share the data. And this is very useful, especially for internal training or internal employee stuff, and you just want to show something during a presentation. What we've done in the past is at my other company, we literally just copy and paste this, put it into a branded PowerPoint if we thought the data was good for what we were looking for, and then update it and shared that out. Other things you can do is you can customize this. So if you need to update, send a chart to someone so they know what they're looking at, you can do that. So chart titles, subtitles, adding a logo. So if I want to put Overstock.com's image in their logo, and then add, and then if you want to customize what questions, you don't have to have all the questions. You can select which questions you want to show in the infographic, and then you can also do date ranges, and you can also group the data according to the weekly, daily, weekly, or monthly. And then you can also filter the results according to those who completed or those who did not complete. So that is available. The only thing that it doesn't have is the option to change the colors, look, feel, and theme. So that is one thing that it doesn't have. However, you know, just for something that's just really quick to look at and it's easy to analyze, this is a great quick report that you can share, and it makes perfect sense. The big difference between this one and the dashboard that I showed you earlier is that the dashboard is very interactive, very engaging, extremely customizable. So if you make changes on there, you can save them. You can share the report link out and everything as well, and that will work. We do have a reporting link as well for this. And so people can go ahead and preview it every time they click on it. But in terms of being able to filter, customize, all those other things, there's really not that much that you can do here. But it's still a cool looking chart that you can work with, and it makes easy sense in terms of how to analyze this information. So that is the basic overview of the dashboard. The other thing I want to just go over really quick is just the last piece of just the basic overview, which is downloading raw data for your reports and analytics. And we have many different options available to you for you to decide what works best for you. The first one that we have is the output file format raw data export in either Excel or CSV. For those who are doing very basic surveys, maybe once a month or maybe a couple times a year, this is a great place to start. So you got the dashboard, and then you have the reports, and you can download it and do some additional analytics, and that works as well. You can also customize within the report what you want to see and have, so that you don't have to fine-tune the data too much. You can just work on with the raw data and start, you know, using some pivot tables and things like that in Excel. So here you can include open-ended text data if you want or not. If you want to just remove it so the data is a lot cleaner and then pull a separate text report, you're welcome to do that. You can also include the raw data, answer codes, many different things in here, display codes instead of text. And then you can also open up some filters as well. So if you want to look at the date ranges as well as the response status, you're capable and able to do that from here. And so to download it, you just click here, and this will open up the survey report on the bottom right, and then you'll get an Excel spreadsheet and open it up and be able to analyze and start looking at the raw data. So I've got numbers since I'm on a Mac, but essentially the information will be inside here, and that is how you would look at the responses. So other options that we do offer with exporting the data is down below with charts and analytics export. So for example, if you are doing a PowerPoint presentation on the data that you're receiving, you can pick a PowerPoint format in PPT or PPTX, Word doc or Excel if you need, and then you can also select a template that best matches your company look and feel. You can also update and add your own custom template as well. So if you have a particular branding look and feel for slides and presentations that your marketing team has put on all of the departments and divisions to follow, you can upload that PPT, and that will be where the information will be downloaded into. You can also include open-ended text or not, filter accordingly, and then also filter out particular questions. So maybe you don't want all the questions, you just want to highlight a few of the survey questions within the presentation, and then you can just click multiple ones as you want and highlight the few that you need, and then go ahead and download it and review what that looks like. Other things we also have, which is very popular, would be the SPSS. When I was in college, maybe 15 years ago, we were using SPSS to do market research analytics, and it's still around to this day. Still a very useful tool, and to get the data inside the system, you'll just need to make sure that you download it, the raw data, in a way that is accommodating that. I mean, yes, you can use Excel or CSV, however, making it easier for SPSS to import and upload the data is here. And you'll have other customization options as you've seen above, so that really helps that as well. So in addition to the other downloading options, we also have the ability to download your files in SQL or XML in XML format. So if you are having to upload your data into a different kind of dashboard report, or maybe it's an internal type of database that you'll be able to store your collected survey insights, then you can select this option as well. A lot of times, once you start seeing that you're being asked to get the data into the system in this format, you can do it manually, but you can also take it a step further and do some integrations where this can be automated. However, this is just for those that maybe they just need like a one-off project and it's not something that is done on a continual basis. So this is where you can download it and still import it into your database as needed. And we'll talk about automation options and integration in a bit. So this is the conclusion of the basics of every license that is signed up with Question Pro should have the option to look at real-time dashboards, be able to look at participant stats, and make edits and changes, and also be able to export the data out. Last thing here is that you can look at some more analytics options. So advanced analytics overview, we're going to cover cross tabulations, pivot tables, data segmentation, data comparison, where to access trend reports, correlation analysis, weighting and balancing, and also how to set up automated reports to you. So instead of having to manually pull the reports, you can have them set up and sent to you daily, weekly, or monthly. If we have more time, because I know I only scheduled time until 1, we can do a brief overview of turf analysis and how to use that with the select all question types. And then also talk about text analytics and how to do text tagging with your open-ended questions. And then we'll discuss API and integrations and webhook options as well. So we'll come back to those in a bit. Let's just jump back to advanced analytics, and we're going to go ahead and jump over to what that looks like right now. So under reports, next to the dashboard, you'll see advanced. And here's all the different options that we have for you to take a look at. So the first one is for cross tabulations. And cross tabulations is the tool that allows you to compare a relationship between two questions or two different variables within the system. So for example, if you have a pivot of a question that you want to look at, how long have you used, or how would you rate your level of satisfaction with Overstock, and then be able to filter that according to maybe some profiling information. So if I wanted to see how how men and women compare, then I can create a quick online crosstab and then review the data immediately below that, you know, here we have the breakdown of men, males and females. There's 17 that are very highly satisfied versus the 12, the big differences, and then also the overall. So we are giving you the roll totals as well as the mean calculation that's been set up in the system. And again, as you saw, you can update and configure reports to make those changes, and they'll be available to see here. So that is just the basic, you know, look of the cross tabulation. So you can see, you know, males again, you know, they're 17, 17, 13 is neutral, you know, and then there's also some issues here. Some of them are very dissatisfied with their level of satisfaction, and so that's something worth taking a look at versus females. So this allows you to do some quick tabulations and understand, especially if you're looking at profiling information and questions, what kind of relationship is there, what kind of you know, if you're crossing two things together, what's the percentage and overall. So it's easy to look at versus just looking at the raw data and having to do a quick calculation or run an Excel spreadsheet. So you'll see also the Pearson's chi-square statistics that allows you to see the p-values and the degrees of freedom between the different profiling questions that you might want to analyze against certain questions. And then also look at a frequency analysis of the different items as well. So this is a really quick way to do some one-to-one or two-to-one comparisons. And so that's pretty simple. There's also other items within here that you can see if you go back to cross tabulations. Let me just go back. You can also see that we have a really quick banner pivot table, and I will be the first one to admit that, you know, I would say Excel spreadsheets or Excel in general does pivot tables really well. So if you are going to do something very extensive, go ahead and download the raw data and use that. But if you just want to do something really quick on the fly, especially when you are just fielding the survey, then having just the quick way to look at a question and pivot with another question or group it with a few other items, then that would be a good way to analyze the data. We're also going to be including some additional items that you can be able to see all of the crosstabs in fulls. Right now you have to be the one selecting everything, but in the future we'll be able to give you the overall, and then you can work your way to drill down into the things that you're particularly looking for. The next one I wanted to go over is data segmentation, and we kind of sort of did that a little bit with the dashboard report, and it's a great way to do that. But if you're interested in downloading data for a particular segment of your survey, then this is a great place to do this. And you can also access a dashboard report just for these particular segments that you're looking at. So to set a segment up, it's fairly simple. Just go to the top right hand and click here and then type in a name. We'll just test 2. And then I can pick responses to the survey, response dates or system variables, and then I can select, you know, the items that they're looking for here. And so I can see, and then I can select the answers. And so you can see anyone who's selected here, go ahead and save this filter. Click continue, and I'm just refreshing it, and then now that new one is down here. So I've got 122 people that fit this question. If they asked if Overstock understands their needs, above, well above, or average, then that is now available. And you can also click through and see who those people are from here. Instead of going back to participant stats, you can do it directly here. And then on the right side of that is the report options. So I'll open up options to look at the dashboard just for this particular segment you just built, the text report just for this particular segment, the Excel report, the PowerPoint and Word report particular to the segment. And the other thing is if you need to make an edit to what you selected. So you're like, oh, I forgot, in addition to the responses here, I need to go in, make an edit, and also include, some other questions like how likely would you come back? And you can see those that are likely. You want to compare like, are the people that are happy and think that you're addressing their needs, how likely are they to come and shop? And so you can add those, and you can also include other variables as well. So you can build a very extensive, complex, or comprehensive filter that meets the needs. So, because a lot of people, when they're doing profiling, they're not going to be like, I just want to look at men who shop online. They're going to be like, I want to look at men within this income range, within this education, that have answered so and so and so, and I want to know, what kind of analytics I can get from them or what kind of insights I can get. So that's what you can do from here. And that is a really nice thing. And then you can download the reports as well. And you can have, I believe you can have up to 30 filters or more, about 30 plus filters, and do some quick analysis for these different sections. The other thing you can also do in addition to this is that you can compare the reports together. So you can click on males and females. How did they respond to the survey, and see what their results are side by side. So click on the two on the top right segments that you've built, and then on the bottom click on more actions. Will open up a online comparison report, and this will give you a real-time report and see side by side how males and females answer the same questions, and you'll be able to see, the differences overall. And this is, typically done with a lot of profiling questions as well. So think about, the comprehensive filters and segments you're looking at, and the different profiles you're looking at. Build those in data segmentation, and then using the online comparison reports, you can really see and do your quick analyses from directly in Question Pro, which is really nice. The other thing you can also do is do a survey comparison. And survey comparisons allows you to be able to compare the questions and answers you receive from one survey to another survey. So if you're asking the same question, over and over, and you want to see how those results are from one survey to another, you don't have to do it offline on an Excel spreadsheet anymore. You can do it directly in Question Pro. So let's show you real quick. So you click on New Data Comparison Report on the right side, and I'm just going to put a testing option here, and then this list here is all of the surveys you've built in the system. You can just click on one. I'm just going to open this one up, and then I'm going to compare side by side from the survey which one I want to compare to. So I want to ask them, how frequently do you shop at Overstock.com? And so it looks like they have the same question, and I can go ahead and save that online comparison report, and it'll also open up and show you that, those from the satisfaction survey 1 versus the copied survey 2, how they compare side by side. So you can see overall, the different options. So if someone's shopping day by day, what's interesting about that target audience that you reached out to versus the one earlier. So this is your chance to do it really quick to compare questions overall. Other things you can also do is trend analysis. So if you need to download a report in an Excel spreadsheet, you can also do that here. I'm not going to actually do that right now because the other option we also have is the trend dashboard. And the dashboard looks very similar to the overall dashboard, but you can go inside here and see how that's changed over time. Unfortunately, I did build the survey out a little earlier this week, so I don't have too much trending information, but what I recommend is for people to track how, like especially a transactional type survey or something you're doing each month that's going out to different people, and you want to see how the responses have changed over time. This is a great way to see it online. And then of course, if you would like to download and see how the changes by percentage and by overall counts have changed over time, you can also do that in a download as well. That is that piece. The other item that we also have is the correlation analysis, and it's a very standard one, and we're actually going to be changing a little bit of it, but it is statistically useful. It is a method of statistical evaluation that uses the study to look at the different strengths between various questions in the survey. So if I want to ask, how long have you used your new furniture, and ask them against, how likely are you to continue to shop, and then you can generate a standard coefficient and see the strengths between the two. So, and you can also update and change those as well. It's fairly basic, and I would say that it's pretty easy to see what those strengths are, and if you're interested in learning more about Spearman Row, you can always open up the help file as well. But as I had mentioned, we are making a few more changes to it so that you can find this more useful, especially when you're doing analyses and looking at key relationships, like whether if a person answered this, what's the likelihood of them to answer another question in a certain way, and just think about it as profiling the particular questions and finding the likelihood of them saying yes here means no for something else. So the story that you'll get will be more visual for you to tell. The last thing I want to show you here from Advanced Analytics is the weighting and balancing option, and it's especially useful for those who want to get like a 50-50 split, or they want to split out the data to make sure that the answer results are even across the board. And so we do it at the level of the questions, and so you can open up and see, you can set up the weights accordingly. So if you want to go back in and then do like, if you got 5 questions here and you want to do a 20% weight across the board, then the data will be updated throughout the system, from dashboards all the way to the weights and even the downloads to make it more balanced. And a lot of times people use this especially for profiling information. So if you have, if you're finding that your data has more women versus men and you want to get like a 50-50 split, this is where you can go in and make some updates. And you can apply it to multiple question types and really balance out the survey to get a more accurate depiction of what your target audience may potentially do or might be saying out there. So, so that removes any biases or any items that might skew the data. So that is one thing that you can help do to improve the quality of the insights that you're offering to your board members and decision makers. And the next thing, I just wanted to jump in real quick because I know we have a few more minutes. Looks like we may not be able to get to turf analysis, which is fine, but I do want to jump in to one that I feel that doesn't quite get used nearly enough, which is text analysis and text tagging. One thing that I did at my other company was we had an open-ended question that asked people, what is the reason why you are using our software platform? What is the purpose, or what's the main reason why you chose us? And so from there, we opened it up and we saw some variable patterns with what they were saying, and we wanted to quantify that data so we can show these comments mean that they come to our platform or use us because they need it to run their business, versus it's because the people I work with here is really great, and or the service that you're offering is better, even though I can go to anybody else. So those are things that you can do, and we can go ahead and start here by clicking on View, Manage Tag Responses on the right side. And then you'll be able to go in and let's go back to text. Actually, we need to add some tags. With quality. And save that. And if they're able to pick up certain words, they'll be able to automatically tag it as well. Just adding some keywords in there, just for fun. There's got to be no spacing. And then after that, you can go to the right side and view and manually tag your responses. So if the system didn't necessarily pick those up, you can go in and you can see this is about quality. Maybe it's not good. Your stuff seems cheap. And so obviously that's like a quality issue. So you can see, perhaps Overstock may have a quality issue or not. Maybe they have a great quality thing. So regardless, it might be something that you could do and analyze as you go along, and you can see, what's going on here. So let's go ahead and view the chart. So what happens after you go in and tag the responses, you'll be able to see, how many were tagged, and then the split across. And then you can actually click through and see, from here, out of the responses, 33% didn't think it was, there's some issues. And then obviously, quality is a very important thing when it comes to their experience using or shopping with Overstock. So I recommend, this was just a real basic one I just did on the fly, but you can get pretty comprehensive. Back in the days when I worked at a market research agency, we literally had 2 people in our department doing manual tagging with mailers that went out, and they would put together these reports to show, who, regardless of the comments, based off of the categories that we set them up, who fits in where. And so now we can do this by hand with the online report. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude what I'm showing today, and perhaps we'll do a more extensive overview of turf analysis and everything down the road. The last thing I do want to talk about is the ability to do API integration. So we are going to go over just about 5 minutes, and we'll conclude there. So for those who are working with big sets of data, and now there's a requirement for you to save and add it to either your internal database or an outside tool, and make changes on the fly real quick. API integration really is the way many people are going. So if you're a company that has an open integration option and you need some data from us, we are an open integration company as well, and so we will connect you with the keys and allow you to decide what pieces of information from your surveys as well as profiling information that you need to add to your internal columns to collect the data on a continual basis. And we kind of think of it as being a restaurant, a waiter, and a diner. So you're the diner, the API integration is the waiter or waitress taking your order and then taking it back to the restaurant, which is Question Pro, and we're serving up what you ordered from us and delivering it to you so that you can eat. So it's a really simple way to think about API integration. We're giving you exactly what you need. We're not giving you everything you want. I would say that better. We're not giving you everything we offer, but we're giving you exactly what you need when you need it. And that's what a lot of people are doing in terms of efficiency when it comes to API integration. So API, again, offers data automation. You can push over 255 plus pieces of data. You can set up your own real time. You can decide when to port the data over. It could be several times a day. It could be once a week. It really depends on what your information needs. And not only that, we also do integrations to do webhooks. So if you're new to webhooks, basically, if you need to make changes on a website or updates and vice versa, then you can do that based off of the information you have collected, and it will change accordingly. So this is actually very popular with our tool called Question Pro Communities, and so the information that people send over via the different profiles of the users that are now using the panel management solution that we offer, the information can change over time, and so we're able to allow people to manipulate or maybe update profiles that way automatically. So we're really moving in a more automation format. And so if this is something you're interested in, feel free to reach out to me and let me know. So that is what we have. So I'm going to look and see if there's any questions from the team or from everyone who's shown here. And I do appreciate everyone who is here. I think you have all managed to stay, even though I'm going over. So I really appreciate your time and see if there's any questions. So it looks like I have one question here for text analytics. Can I use text analytics on all my comments that I get? Yes, absolutely. The answer is yes. You can access all the different question types. Just because I had just one comment box in my survey doesn't mean that you can't apply it to the additional. So every single open-ended text question that you have in your survey will then be available to the text tagging tool, and you can open it up and build several quantitative reports and information, do some quick analysis to be able to look at the data as well. So very good question. One more question I got here from Amy, and she's asking, API integration seems that IT department has to be a part of it. Is that correct? That really depends on your team, but sometimes we work, I would say yes, the majority of the time you'll be working with your IT team depending on where you need the data. Sometimes it's a third-party tool. So some of the tools that we offer to use and do the integration is more than just the internal tool. We can integrate pretty much with all these people and more. So all of these things are what people have come to us and said that they need to integrate with. And we're continuing to add to this. So if you have a list of tools that you integrate with but maybe you have a tool that's not on this list, it doesn't mean we don't do it. So definitely reach out to me, Amy, if you want more information on that. And that is, looks like it's all the questions that we have. So I hope you found this really helpful and that you can start using the more advanced analytics and even the basics so that you can get to know how Question Pro offers these types of analytics for your research and make it a lot easier for you to do your insights reports to your teams, to your decision makers quicker than ever before. So again, I just want to thank you for your time, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.